If you've also purchased the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, or you have a recent generation Samsung flagship, know that you have in your hands a smartphone with one of the best cameras on the market right now. And if you're a photography enthusiast, with it, you can certainly capture fantastic, precise shots, almost like a professional. However, the technology built into this S23 Ultra is not trivial. Its numerous settings and infinite combinations can determine the quality of photos from good to excellent. Therefore, understanding how they work can be crucial in order to use them correctly based on our scene. And in this video, I want to show you how I use and set up the cameras to achieve high-quality shots. First of all, in the Play Store, you can find many apps developed specifically for cameras. But I believe that Samsung's native app is extremely capable and allows you to have 360-degree control over the cameras, giving you the tools necessary to fully express your creativity and handle any scene and lighting combination. The main functions are straightforward and intuitive and are easily accessible in the Samsung app interface. Starting with the flash, you can turn it on or off, but I recommend using it only when there is little or no light, as it can create an artificial and unnatural effect in the photo. The more natural or artificial external light you can create, the better the result will be. Next to that, we have the photo timer, which I don't think needs an explanation, useful for taking photos from a distance with automatic shooting. Then we have the choice of photo format, and how many megapixels to use. Keep in mind that from 3/4 to full, the camera operates at 12 megapixels. Finally, there are features like motion photos, which are like mini videos within the photo, applying filters, and face corrections, which I keep turned off to avoid altering the photos. These are certainly useful and convenient functions to use and play with, but they certainly won't be what allows us to get the most out of our Samsung S23 Ultra. To begin, I always recommend adjusting the settings, this way you have ideal control. For example, turning off scene optimization, as the phone could modify the image, not giving us maximum control over composition. Certainly, if you're a beginner or want less hassle, I recommend leaving this active, along with shot suggestions and QR scanning. But for professional use, I would leave them disabled. Other important settings to consider, in my opinion, could be found under advanced options. For instance, there's the high-efficiency photo option, which allows us to save space in photos without compromising quality, but in a different format than the common JPEG. The drawback is that if you want to use that photo in other apps, some may not recognize it, which is why I leave it turned off. While in the Pro Mode photo format, I recommend using both RAW and JPEG formats, as having both formats gives us full control over the photo in post-production, and the RAW format gives us this great capability. Moving on to general settings, I believe that autofocus tracking is a very useful feature because it allows us to have greater definition on a moving subject, which can be somewhat difficult to achieve manually. The grid function is also equally valuable to use because it enables us to use the rule of thirds in the best way possible, and allows us to be more precise and level with the horizon. I think these settings are the primary ones that have the greatest impact on photo quality, while the others are customization settings that everyone can evaluate based on their preferences. But to fully unlock its capabilities, there's a very useful camera app extension called Camera Assistant, downloadable from the Galaxy Store. This allows us to gain more control and improve the final shot. In this app, I disable automatic HDR because I've noticed that in some parts of the photo, it alters the brightness, which I prefer to adjust in post-production. For the same reason, I leave photo smoothing turned off, although it can be useful for those who want a little more smoothness in their photos by deciding the intensity with which Samsung's software can intervene. Automatic lens switching and adaptive pixels are functions that I believe can provide significant assistance and allow the phone to manage the cameras in the best way possible. Remember that it's quite different from a professional camera like single lens reflex (SLR) cameras, and it has 4 cameras, so it's not always easy to use them to their full potential. The last important settings are quick capture, focus priority on speed, and capture speed. I believe that these should be chosen based on the subject. For example, if we love taking photos of landscapes or stationary subjects, it's definitely better to activate the shutter after focusing to achieve maximum sharpness on the subject. While if we need to take photos of moving subjects, having a faster capture speed will significantly reduce the risk of a blurry subject due to movement, like, for instance, a speeding car, our running pet, or our child playing. At this point, I believe the phone is now set up in the best way to have good control over the scene and the rendering of light and shadow between bright and dark areas. And to make the most of them, we have mainly 3 modes. The first is the classic point-and-shoot camera mode, where Samsung's software undoubtedly does an excellent job and creates magnificent photos with minimal effort and without complicated techniques. Moreover, the S23, with its 200 megapixels, can provide truly fantastic details, making photos rich in colors and details. Although, in my extensive use, I've come to prefer the 50 megapixel mode. This is because the processor is much more responsive compared to the 200 megapixel mode, as it can create a blurry effect due to the extended processing time. Lastly, we have the 2 professional photography modes, Pro and Expert RAW. If used with knowledge in the field of photography, these 2 modes allow us to control more shooting parameters, such as white balance, focus, ISO, and many others. They also allow us to capture our shots in RAW format, a larger format that stores a lot of data for better quality, giving us the possibility to achieve better results in terms of colors, details, and contrast. And now, Samsung has simplified the post-production process by giving us immediate access from the photo to the Lightroom app to make all the desired changes for a fantastic result. The last photography mode I want to mention, which I use a lot and find extremely effective, is the portrait mode. Thanks to the software, it can simulate and make the bokeh effect appear realistic like a DSLR camera, thanks to the aperture that highlights the subject by blurring the background. A technique widely used nowadays that produces a tremendous result and impact. I believe these are the main features that allow us to make the most of the S23 Ultra's cameras. I'm personally not a professional photographer, so if you have any suggestions or tips, please write them in the comments. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a free like and subscribe to the channel for future tech updates. Until next time.